I love the opening of Earthbound. Specifically with you waking up in the middle of the night and investigating a loud crash. You're in your pajamas, neighbors are confused, and it's just kinda hectic. It reminds me of when I was in college, and at like 10 p.m. one night, the fire alarm for the apartment building across the street went off. Like 100+ people come pouring out. Of course, a lot of them were in their pajamas like Ness here. And I think there were even some people that just got out of the shower who rushed to put something on real quick. In the end, it turned out to be a false alarm. But that coming together of people was interesting. People were minding their business in their room one minute, some probably even getting ready for bed, and then they were jolted out of their comfort space. There's a kind of feeling in the air with moments like that. There's tension, confusion, and a sense of community. People come together. I feel that here with all these NPCs around. It's such a grounded start to what will evolve into a fantastical journey of a game. Welcome to Video Game World Tours, and this is Earthbound. On it is Ness's hometown, and it is absolutely lovely. It feels so welcoming. This actually feels super similar to Hometown from Deltarune. They're both super idealized and chill. I did just beat Deltarune somewhat recently, so the game's been on my mind. Knowing Toby was so heavily inspired from the Mother series, maybe he put a little bit of the spirit of On It into Hometown. Or maybe my mind's just been corrupted with the Deltarune virus. Could be a bit of both. The library is the first building you'll probably come across. Most of the people in here are walking tutorials. Though the way these bits of information are contextualized is funny. Like these kids are reading books about how it's mandated that ATMs and payphones be in every drugstore. Kids these days would never read those kind of books, SMH. Some people are upset that you're trying to learn about the game though. They'll shush you. How rude. And then there's this weird kid in the main room. He says nothing, and then the game tells you it's useless to talk to him now. For some reason, that stuck with me. Every time I saw a kid with this sprite, I talked to them, but they never seemed to be related to this kid. I wonder what he'll have to say at the end of the game. Nearby is something I only discovered after beating the game and started scouting spots for this video. I remembered this kid said something about a hideout, but I couldn't find it back then, so I gave up and moved on with the game. Much later, I decided to come back and there it is. It's a hideout alright. Sneakily hidden, that's for sure. There's a couple houses throughout the game that the hint guy hangs out in. You pay him some money and he tells you where to go next to progress the story. I just think it's funny that he has this super plain building. Nothing on the walls, no furniture, just a stand and his little sign. You can't even read the sign, it isn't interactable. It's so sad. Guys really live in buildings like this and don't see any issue. As is RPG Town tradition, there's a handful of random houses that have no relevance to the plot. Some you can even enter. This girl just moved in from the town over. She even drops a hint about Paula. Is this a little kid? Does she live here by herself? There are 2 beds, so maybe her guardian is at work and she's home alone. With her front door open. She needs to have a talk with Corny about stranger danger. Also, those 2 beds are awkwardly close. This house, I don't know, it feels nicer. The lights on the wall and the painting there makes this feel like a more expensive house. Plus the exterior is different from all the other homes in town. On the eastern end of town, there's a girl that says, "I wonder if Earthbound's been released yet." I bet this was insane back in the day. Fourth wall breaks weren't nearly as popular as they are now. This definitely isn't the last time it'll be broken in this game, but it's the first time you kinda realize what game you're in for. This little girl in this random house knows that Earthbound as a video game exists, and she wants to play it. Could she play it and talk to herself in the game? I think she'd love that. Nice house too, I love the colors. In the hospital, which has a deceptively small interior compared to the exterior, you can find something on the 2nd floor. A sign that reads, "Tombstone Blowout Sale. We have a special discount for those who have passed on in this hospital." It sounds like something you'd see in a sketch comedy show. I know this game isn't the oldest thing in the world, but it feels way ahead of its time with the humor. Just to the east of that, down a short forest path, you arrive at a beautiful cliffside. It overlooks the sea, and you're left to wonder about the world outside of On It. Even though you can't see the horizon yourself, it's easy to put yourself in Ness's shoes. You're a little kid, and your adventure is just beginning. Who knows what sights you'll see? I knows what sights you'll see. Crazy sights, that's for sure. Oh yeah, you can buy this house here. $7,500. That's a little bit out of my price range. You know what? We'll come back later. This house will be mine. I can't pass up a scenic view like this. To the north of On It, through a long and winding cave system, you find yourself at the first Your Sanctuary spot. There are 8 of these that you have to visit throughout the world to aid you in your quest. They're always a peculiar landmark. This one is called Giant Step. When you approach them, a little tune plays. And there's always these short lines the game gives you. Ness caught a glimpse of a small, cute puppy. Most definitely a reference to King, Ness's dog. I love these spots and the spiritual feel they evoke. The mystical music, mixed with the text making it seem like Ness is getting a vision of his past, it's magical. And the spots themselves definitely help that too. They're just bizarre. What is this giant footprint? Who's it from? Where'd they go? You never know, and you don't need to know. Those are questions that don't need answers. Just give yourself into the mystery. With that, Ness is finally able to leave On It and head out into the unknown. Just past the barricade that kept you in On It, you'll find the home of the Exit Mouse. Oh yeah, it's not this guy's house. He just lives here rent-free. What a nice mouse. Though he does kinda give his kids away to strangers. Writers today could learn from these morally gray characters of the past. It's a very short walk to Tucson, a breath of fresh air after experiencing the long walk between Threed and Fourside later in the game. And can I just say, I love the names for the towns in Eagle Land. They're so charming being named based on the numbers like that. Though I wonder if Fourside ever wonders why they aren't called On It. Why's On It so special? Anyway, Tucson. Kinda similar vibes to On It, though it feels a bit more laid back. The music isn't as upbeat, and the colors are a bit more muted. It feels like this could almost be at sunset. I love a good sunset vibe. In the backyard of this house in the north, there's a little patch of dirt. I don't know, it just caught my eye. You can walk from the east side of town to the west up here, and it's all grass except for that little dirt spot. All my gamer instincts I've built up over the decades is telling me that something is hidden right there. I just feel it. But there's nothing. Got a massive department store. I love this trope in RPGs. Pokemon does this too. It's always fun to come across these and know that you'll have a wide variety of items to choose from in here, even though they are usually annoying to traverse and actually find what you want. Slow escalators. This isn't really a spot specific to any particular place in the game, but it's one I found super interesting nonetheless. You're able to call your dad to save your game. He then asks you if you want to keep playing. If you tell him you want to quit, he tells you to power off the console. And then you're just stuck here. You can't close this text box. You can't open your menu. You can't move at all. You are locked into turning off the console at this point. There's a sense of finality to this screen. You told your dad you were done, and there's no going back from that. You just wait here for nothing to happen. This isn't even a spot. I just like how Ness smiles when he rides his bike. That's so cute. You rarely see the characters emote in this game, so any bit of happiness is appreciated. Ness just cannot contain himself and maintain his usual stoic exterior. And you know what? You shouldn't have to. Smile your heart out, Ness. Be yourself. In Polestar Preschool, there's a bunch of kids that will talk about Paula and how great she is. This kid says I might not be able to comprehend his emotions, and that he possesses the mind of an adult. I beg your pardon, he adds. I just got a kick out of that. I beg your pardon. Yeah, whatever, kid. Ugh. Also, I think this is the most expansive house you've seen this far, outside of Ness's. Not even counting the preschool area, it has the main room, an upstairs, and another bedroom. That's just insanity. Usually it's only a downstairs, and an upstairs too if you're lucky. But 3 rooms? Her family must be rolling in the dough. Preschool is where the big bucks are made. Tucson is home to the Orange Kid and Apple Kid, 2 competing inventors. The Orange Kid's home is nice and tidy, even got a cute little cactus. Apple Kid's house, though, sheesh. Actually, you know what? Maybe that just means he's more dedicated to the craft. You see a bunch of tools out here, and I didn't see any in Orange Kid's house. I think that speaks volumes. Though Apple Kid does admit to not taking a bath in a while, and that he might be stinky. Yet another morally gray character in the world of Earthbound. Turns out people can be great inventors and stinky. Also, there is a talking mouse. To the west is Peaceful Rest Valley. There's a cute little pond in the middle of it that serves no purpose. But not every spot needs to have a purpose. This place can exist just because. Paula was kidnapped and is being held all the way out here in this tiny little shack. Just a cute house nestled deep in the valley. Well, it's more of a prison, I guess. Ignoring that little detail, it's nice. She's being held by a cult that loves to paint things blue. They really went all out. Even the tiny flowers are painted blue. To save Paula, you need to traverse this maze of blue cultists in a big blue room. They got a lot of them in here. I'm sure the fire department wouldn't be happy with this. Anyway, once you beat the boss of the area, all these guys clear out. Where to? I have no idea, but it's funny that you're just left with such an empty space. And some stragglers too, I guess. I like these guys. They aren't sheeple. They march to the beat of their own drum. Aw man, they painted a cow blue though. That wasn't very nice. After you save Paula, the town gets unpainted blue, including the cow. So I guess they recognized that that was a wrong that needed to be righted. Good on them. Must have been a lot of work to unblue this place. The second Your Sanctuary spot. Ness briefly had a vision of a baby in a red cap. The Lilliput Steps. According to the wiki, that's a reference to the island of Lilliput from Gulliver's Travels. I was about to ask whose steps these are, but considering the source material, I guess it could be a reference to the tiny people from that book. Though these steps don't really seem that small. Regardless, lovely spot. Once you return to Tucson, there's a whole thing about helping the Runaway Five pay off their debt. You can see them perform in this theater. The flashing floor is distracting. A lot of people in here. This guy farted. This girl is at the front trying to get sweat or spit on her from the Runaway Five. This girl's life is the Runaway Five. And this one is annoyed that you're bouncing around talking to everyone. Kind of a funny joke to do on the player. They know how I play these games. I do bounce around. Before you leave Tucson, if you happen to rent a bike earlier, you can return it now. The owner points out how low the seat was and remarks on your short legs. He even says he'll call you stubby legs. What's this guy's problem? I thought it was weird that the bike was introduced in this town and then you're just unable to use it when you get another party member. What's the point of it? Anyway, that's it for Tucson. You arrive into Threed, and it is not a pretty sight. It's gloomy, super unwelcoming compared to Onnet and Tucson. Ghosts and zombies have taken over this once fun-filled town, and you need to save them. But we'll take a quick look around before that. They can wait just a bit longer. There's a big circus tent in the center of town. I don't know about you, but the colors in here feel off. Pink and purple don't really read as circus colors to me. But maybe this game is just driving me crazy, and I'm thinking too much about things that shouldn't be focused on. If you knock on this door, someone screams, a zombie! Oh, they were just watching a zombie movie. I didn't pause the footage there. The text box genuinely holds for a moment for dramatic effect. Good bit. And this mouse loves you. Isn't that nice? Paula and Ness get kidnapped. They're placed in this tiny room, underground. Gotta say, it's a little spooky with there being a black void. Much more spooky than if it was just rock walls around you. Anyway, you're trapped. Paula uses her telepathic powers to reach out to Jeff, who lives all the way on a completely different continent. Winters in Foggyland. That means you get to play as him for a bit. He sneakily escapes his boarding school and stands at the front gates, ready to tackle whatever challenge comes his way in order to save Ness and Paula. I love that lone sense of determination you feel here, as well as back when you leave on it. These are some brave preteens. I love the little leaves that blow by here in the morning. The next spot is great. Earlier in the game, you get a pencil eraser that lets you erase pencil statues in the world. It's like a Metroidvania thing. So when you come across this one right here as Jeff, you know that you'll be coming back to Winters with Ness, since he's the one that has the item. I love when games basically outright tell you that you'll return to an area much later. At the end of Brick Road's dungeon, there's a phone just on the ground. It's obvious the developers wanted you to be able to save here, but it's funny that they didn't even try to contextualize this. Not even a note from Brick Road saying, "Call your friends and tell them about my dungeon." Soon enough, you come across Stonehenge. Yeah, Stonehenge is a thing in this world. You can go through the hole in the center and be met with this weird environment. The ground is flashing. It's super bizarre. And this time there's an actual eraser. You come back with the eraser later and get rid of this. More teasing of places you'll later go. After talking to Jeff's dad and getting his little flying machine fixed, you take to the skies and set course for Threed in Eagle Land. With the help of Jeff, you escape and eventually arrive in Saturn Valley. I feel like this isn't surprising to most modern gamers because we've all played Super Smash Bros. We've seen a Mr. Saturn before. But this must be somewhat surprising if you somehow hadn't seen or heard of them before. The Mr. Saturns are teased way back in the Cult's village. You can talk to one from behind a door, but now you get to see where they live. It's a weird village, and they have a couple of weird spots. Like here, you enter this cave and go through this hole, and it puts you here. Just a tiny little ledge. It's so small you can't even walk anywhere. Maybe this is their lookout. There's also some ladders that aren't quite the right size. These are too short to reach the ledge above, and this one's too tall. For some reason, I thought you'd come back here much later and you'd be able to walk around on this level, that the Mr. Saturn at the top would be gone and there'd be something important there. But no, he remains and nothing important appears, so that's cool. This guy says, patreon.com/Pertzel. What does that mean? Kind of a weird thing to say. Nearby is Master Belch's base. To enter it, you need to wait 3 whole minutes behind this waterfall, and you can't move at all. You need to stay perfectly still. I think that's great. Modern games don't really mess with you like that. Like, there's no actual reason why you'd need to wait that long. It's not like it's secretly a loading screen. The developers just thought it would be funny. And it is. Everyone who's played this game questioned whether they'd get up and go do something else for 3 minutes, or just sit in silence and stare at the TV. That's beautiful. Partway through the base, there's a room you come across. It's completely empty, save for one magic butterfly that constantly respawns. They intentionally put this here as a way for you to completely heal up and replenish your PP just before the big fight. And they knew you'd walk in and out of this door, spawning it over and over until your party is completely topped up. It's the developers throwing you a bone, as long as you're smart enough to realize that they're doing it in the first place. After the dungeon, you go back to Saturn Valley, and Mr. Saturn asks you if you want a cup of coffee before you go. Sure, this is something that'll probably just fill up my health before I... Whoa. I love this. This game can be super silly at times, and then so quickly pivot into being thoughtful. This little coffee break is to remind you of how far you've come, and how much further you have to go, how strong you've become, how you've found friends to journey alongside you, and how you must never lose your courage. It's a beautiful moment. Anyway, back to it. You arrive at the next Your Sanctuary spot, Milky Well. Ness thought he heard his mother from far away. She said, "Be a thoughtful, strong boy." Another iconic spot. I love the Milky Well. Finally returning to Threed, the town is healed. All the nasty creatures are gone with the defeat of Master Belch. As nice as it is to help the town and all its inhabitants, I prefer the nighttime vibes from before. This just looks like another part of Tucson. Can I bring the zombies back? Ah, I forgot they put them in the... Oh my god, I hate this guy. He's always stopping you for a picture, and it takes forever. Say, isn't it weird that the other party members never pose for the picture? Do they hate fuzzy pickles or something? Yeah, the villagers trapped the zombies in the cage. This one will never forgive you for the rest of his life. I do feel kinda bad. This really affected him. Can we just let that guy out? Final spot of the video. It's in the Dusty Dunes Desert. Right in the middle of it, in fact. You'll find a tiny oasis. I'm always a sucker for these. Get subscribed to see the next video where we visit Fourside and all the rest that there is to see in Earthbound. Thanks for watching, Predizens. See you next time.